Hello and welcome to The Print. Today we're here in Visakhapatnam with the TDP's parliamentary candidate, Bharat Mathukumilli. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Mona.
So first things first, I want to start by asking you this. You lost by an extremely close margin last time. What lessons have you learned from that campaign, and what are the challenges you're facing this time around?
Many. I think when you go through a whirlwind of a campaign, certain things you can't even remember because there's so much information. I got my ticket on the 19th night in March. I think the poll date was April 11th, so I had 20 days of campaign. I was far less organized. I had a much smaller team, and hence I couldn't focus. And I worked really hard, but I don't think I was very strategic.
This time around?
I think I'm much better. I have a much better team, and I'm more strategic. But I really can't tell how much better I am this time than the last. Also, I think I'm very comfortable with places, with people, because I understand our leadership ecosystem far better. I know who I want to rely on, who I don't want to rely on, what I want to worry about, what I shouldn't be worrying about, because this is an information overload period, right? Because you get hundreds and thousands of people giving feedback to you and the people around you on what you should or shouldn't be doing. And if you listen to everything that's told to you, you will go mad. So you should be able to filter out the noise and focus on the signal.
And stick to your guns,
Yeah, so
right.
that's been helpful.
I mean, Vizag itself is a really dynamic city. There's a lot going on. It's really grown in the last few years. The YSRCP has their 3 capital plan, right? Where they want to make Vizag the executive capital and 2 other capitals in Amravati and Kurnool. What's your stance on this? Do you think Vizag really needs to be a capital?
If you look at examples around the world, in the US, the capital is Washington, D.C. But New York is the largest and the financially is the strongest city. So people of Visakhapatnam, as far as I know, would like a better quality of life. They care less whether they have the term capital or not. And 10 years ago, close to 10 years ago, as a state, as a leadership, we've all decided that we want to place the capital in Amravati. The opposition has also all agreed to it in the assembly. No, the debate on should it have been in Amravati is a debate that's already closed. The merits of it, I don't want to get into it. I feel that the argument that capital should be accessible to all, because we have a state that's very long, has a very long coastline from Kuppam to Ichapuram. So having something that's close to center makes sense, because most of the reasons for people to go to the capital is you want to go to the courts, you want to go to the secretariat, you want to go meet the elected representatives in the assembly. And so then being accessible to all of the state, I think in that sense Amravati is a good choice. As far as Visakhapatnam is concerned, we said we wanted to be the financial capital, akin to the example that I gave you, or like how Bombay is in India while Delhi is the capital. Or
like Kochi and Trivandrum in Kerala.
So there are many such examples, and I think the irony is, on one hand we have the leader of the current government saying that we don't have enough money to build Amravati. On the other hand, they're saying that we want 3 capitals. If you don't have money to build 1 capital, why do you want 3 capitals? So it's a pretense. What they actually want is to kill Amravati, and they want to build, or they want to have only 1 capital city, which is other than Amravati, Vizag being the largest city and where there is some basic infrastructure relative to Hyderabad. They thought Vizag is a better place for one to operate. So I think that should have been done with more transparency. I feel that with hidden intentions or evil intentions, there is a strong desire to kill Amravati, which I think is very unfortunate, because 30,000 plus farmers have donated land, 35,000 acres have been pooled, and this huge amount of trust that has come. If this project fails because of this government's choice, then in the future no farmer will come forward to give land. And this will become an example across states, not just here, where every leader will hesitate to do this. So that's very, we are playing with public sentiment. pooling 35,000 acres is not a joke. People struggle to do project with 100 acres, 200 acres. So it was a historic moment and a historic opportunity that we succeeded in doing, and this government is relentless in trying to destroy it. So I feel very sad about that. And as far as the false love that is being shown to Visakhapatnam, we are questioning that if you have the love, what have you done? How have you developed Visakhapatnam in these last 5 years? Have you brought in any investments here? Have you increased the jobs here for people who are educated? Have you improved the quality of life of citizens in a meaningful or in a significant manner? I don't see evidence of any. So I think it's just false love.
I mean, there are also examples in the past, like with the city of Hyderabad, for example, the Congress under Y.S. Rajshekar Reddy kind of continued the development that Chandrababus had already sort of set in motion. And so that capital developed in a very different way. But here also there is a sort of historical demand around the equitable distribution or the equitable development of all of Andhra. Do you think it's necessary for a city to be a capital to ensure that kind of development?
No, see, firstly, I think the learning for us, because I lived in Hyderabad, I grew up in Hyderabad, is Hyderabad became a very strong nucleus, and everything and everyone wanted to go to Hyderabad. A lot of people who are based out of Andhra have moved to Hyderabad. So when the state of Andhra Pradesh was split, the feeling in Andhra was that we lost our capital, we lost our major city, and we also lost our future. Because a lot of people invested a lot of their wealth into Hyderabad, and they feel that it's not with us anymore. So that is a difficult feeling for one to accept. So the learning from that is, like you've said, to distribute development and not concentrate it in one location. And we've already done that, we've demonstrated that. In Anantapur, we have wanted to make it a manufacturing zone, so that's why Kia has come there. We wanted Chittor, Tirupati to be an electronics hub, so we had TCL there, the mobile manufacturing companies have come there. In Amravati, we want to do more softer, cleaner IT services kind of investments there, education. Universities have set up in Amravati. In Vizag, we wanted to be the financial capital, so any fintech companies, any startups, entrepreneurs. This is the area that we wanted to focus on in Prakasham, a paper manufacturing. So distribution of development, distribution of investment was already a clear agenda, it was happening. And fortunately in Andhra Pradesh, it's a long coastline. We have multiple airports. Unlike Telangana, there's only one large visible airport. In Andhra, we have airports in Kadapa, in Nellore, in Kurnool, in Rajahmundry, in Tirupati, in Vijayawada, in Visakhapatnam. So there's tremendous opportunity, and to make multiple hubs and not just one hub or one large city. This government is developing nothing, right? So no city has grown significantly across the state. So I think this government is not interested in development, not interested in furthering the prospects of people. And we're not saying that, see, in 2004 when we lost, there was this big debate that Mr. Rajshekar Reddy at the time did, that we ignored rural areas. But today, many rural students have come and studied in Hyderabad and have gone abroad to go to IT jobs, and they're sending back money now. So every village that you go to in Andhra Pradesh will have 1, 10, 100 examples of people who've said, oh, we're studying in the US and we're now sending money back to our family. So development spreads. It doesn't remain in one place, but it has to start in a nucleus. And in Andhra, fortunately, we have many nucleuses. It would have been nice if the government had focused on that, but they didn't, and it's very disappointing that they've discontinued everything that we've done from 14 to 19 with a vengeful intention. Mr. Rajshekar Reddy didn't do that. He continued the ORR, he continued the airport, continued the IT growth. This kind of vindictive politics, I think, I'm not very old, but as far as my memory goes, 20 years, I don't remember seeing this kind of vindictive politics.
I want to actually talk about what you touched on earlier. I think people in Andhra are highly aspirational. There is this kind of, there is this kind of inherent aspiration that exists across. In relation to that, something that the Jagannath Reddy's government is known for and is popular for are the welfare schemes that he's kind of introduced. What's your take on that? Do you think that it's aiding these aspirations?
as a leader, you can think about where you want to move society, right? You want to take them forward or you want to take them backward. Mr. Chandrababu Naidu always thinks about how to take the society forward. What does that mean? How can you make one more educated? How can you make one more gainfully employed? How can you make them more financially independent? That's the way our leader thinks. Currently, I see an environment where how do I make them more dependent? How do I make them underemployed so that they don't go anywhere and they remain as my slaves and vote for me? The reason I'm mentioning this and I'm so firm on this stance is welfare is not something that's new to the state of Andhra Pradesh. Welfare schemes have, to my memory, the two have started since Mr. NTR's time in '83. 2 rupees kg rice was introduced by him. Pension to old age people was introduced by him. Mr. Rajshekhar Reddy made it from 75 to 200 rupees in his tenure. From 14 to 19, we made 200 to 2000. So, YCP trying to own welfare as they are the pioneers of welfare is something that I find quite funny. But what they have done is they have not done any focus on any productive development of the state. So we are seeing people becoming more lazy, more entitled, less aspirational, less driven. And there is a mindset in Andhra that if you are aspirational, don't live here. Leave. Go to Hyderabad, go to Bangalore. I prefer that you don't live here. Because if you live here, you'll question us, you won't vote for us, I don't need you. I prefer those who aren't aspirational, and I prefer to make people less competent, lazy, dependent on the government, so that it's like a drug, like you make somebody a drug addict and you stop the drugs, then they crave for more and you give a little bit more and then it becomes a cycle.
But the TDP is promised to continue these welfare schemes and has also extended for beyond that.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. No, I just told you that welfare schemes are not pioneered by YSRCP. I said that welfare schemes have started from Mr. NTR's time. What does that mean? It means that the welfare or the schemes that Sankshemam, what we say in Telugu, is done to help those who are in extreme need.
Right.
Those who don't know where they will get 3 meals tomorrow. But at the same time, the government should also focus on how to give them the knowledge, the skills, the aspiration, such that they will be gainfully employed. So what does that mean? Today we've introduced a scheme that women will get free bus transport. We're not giving money to them. We're saying that please be more mobile. Get out of your house.
It's a highly successful scheme in Karnataka.
So what is this going to do? This is going to make women become more part of a formal workforce. It's going to double the productivity of the economy if women also get into the workforce. If many rural women or urban slum women are locked up in their street or in their slum and don't come out, productivity goes down. My leader has always been one who has, in fact our founder was the one who is responsible for equal share of assets for women. And then subsequently self-help groups were pioneered and built by our leader, Mr. Chandrababus Naidu. So the free bus transport is one of our 6 promises, the welfare promises. But that's how to bring mobility. Right. And if we are giving 3 gas cylinders free, it is so that they have this sentiment that they are getting accessible cooking enablement at home. Right? The 3 gas cylinders is not something that's going to make them lazy. Right? It's not like I'm giving them a drug shot. We are giving pension. We are giving women money every month. So we're not doing away with that. For uneducated youth, we're saying we give 3,000 rupees a month until you get a job. So the intention is to actually give them a job. It's not to keep them on that 3,000 forever. But on the other side, what we're saying is we have to develop the economy. The state budget today is less than 3 lakh crores, whereas the debt is 13 lakh crores. Interest is 1 lakh crores a year. If my budget is 3 lakh crores, interest is 1 lakh. A third is going away to interest. I have to repay the principal at some point. Even if I pay 50,000 crores, more than half of my state budget is going away just to servicing debt. When am I going to pay the welfare schemes? When am I going to give subsidies to industry? When am I going to pay salaries? When am I going to do any development activity? The reason for allying with the BJP for a very large reason is because of YSRCP making the state bankrupt and making us in a very serious debt trap. See, if they have taken, it was 3.5 lakh crores debt in 2019, if they have taken 10 lakh crores of debt and they have spent about 2 lakh crores, 2.5 lakh crores on capital infrastructure, built more roads, more buildings, anything that spurred economic growth, I would be far less critical of them. They've used all this debt and misutilized it. And it's very, very unfortunate. And right now we are at the begging bowl. We have to go to the center. We believe that the BJP will come back into power. And we have to go to the BJP and say, please help the state, please help it stand on its feet. And we're always investment friendly. If we win, we're not going to target, who are the YCP pro companies, let's kill them. Let's scare them away. They've scared Amar Raja away. Amar Raja was supposed to make a 14,000 crore investment in Andhra Pradesh. Because of the harassment of this current government, they're investing that in Telangana now. Indonesian paper and pulp industry has left. They said they don't want to come back. Lulu Mall in Visakhapatnam, 11 acres of land was given. They said they'll never come to Andhra Pradesh again. Gave a written statement to the media. That's how upset they were. Franklin Templeton, that set up shop here, packed up and left. They harassed AP Medtech Zone, which has today 100 companies, 10,000 employees. It's a central government majority project, state government minority project. The only reason it is still continuing in Andhra Pradesh is because the central government and the BJP are a force that YCP doesn't have the guts to mess with. But everybody else they have harassed and sent away. We will not do that. If we come into power, everyone that is there in the state, regardless of their political affiliation, we will want them to be productive. If they have done any wrong as per law, law will take its course. But as far as being productive, we will not target or isolate them that we'll shut down your company, we'll harass you for pollution control clearances. It's very unfortunate what's happening today in Andhra Pradesh on that count.
Speaking of your alliance with the BJP, are you worried that they might isolate or alienate the minority vote in Andhra?
See, historically we've contested with BJP multiple times. This is not our first time. We've done it between 95 to 2004, we've done it between 14 to 19.
Yeah.
And we're doing it again now. So all of those times we have formed the government and we've had minorities vote for us. Will the percentage vary? Maybe. But I don't think it is something that we worry about. Because in South India, I think minority polarization is not something that's as serious a topic maybe as it is in North India. And over here, I think the caste system is far more prevalent. Caste has a much stronger influence on voting patterns. And in times of crisis, I think these boundaries get blurred. People feel we're in a crisis today. There's a lot of anti-YCP vote, which the alliance is going to get. And the anti-YCP vote cares less about caste, religion, region, all that. They only care about they don't want YCP to come into power. So for those people also we have to say when we come what we're going to do. Because you can't go to election saying that guy is bad. You have to also say what you're going to do. So one part is our welfare schemes, but the other is we've committed to bring 20 lakh jobs into the Andhra Pradesh, bring investment, want to bring clean drinking water to every household. We want to bring safety and stability, law and order, reduce the prevalence of drugs in cities and areas like Visakhapatnam and other areas. So basically restore normalcy, which I believe strongly doesn't exist.
Switching gears a little bit, I want to talk to you about Chandrababus Naidu's arrest. How did that affect the cadre? How did it affect the people? Do you think it's going to have an impact on this election?
See, I think there was a very concerted effort to destabilize Telugudesam party, because if they wanted to investigate him or arrest him on some case or allegation, why did they take 4.5 years to do it? They had all the evidence that they wanted in the first 3 months, 2 months. And one should also observe that if you want to put a case, you put the case based on the evidence and based on when the complaint is filed. They have not put cases for 4.5 years, but in a matter of 2 months, they have put 8-10 cases. This is the prediction that we made, that even if we get relief on one case as like a bail or quashing the petition, they'll put another case. Which means that this was a very systematic, planned criminal effort to destabilize the Telugudesam party, because if there is evidence to suggest that there is any wrongdoing, there are officers who have signed the first case, the skill development, who are currently advisors to the government of YSRCP. Why are they not being investigated or being arrested? They are the direct signing authorities. The Chief Minister has not signed anywhere, the former Chief Minister. So it clearly shows how biased the investigation is and how biased the AP Crime Investigation Department is operating. And when all of that happened, we obviously, we feel, oh, this will never happen. Like, he won't have the guts to do something like this. Or if he does that, it's suicide. Every time we've felt that, he's gone one step further and he's done it. So this is also like that. We didn't imagine that they'll ever put our leader in the jail, but they've done it. There was disappointment, fear, anger, frustration, despair, all kinds of emotions that came. But I think the support that came out across the globe, in Telangana, in many countries where IT professionals who have benefited from the policies and the regime of Mr. Chandrababus Naidu came out in support, and I think that was very heartwarming. Mr. Pawan Kalyan, who's our alliance partner now, came out almost immediately saying that, as I have been saying, I have now decided that we are going together and announce the alliance, regardless of whether the seats numbers were fixed or not. And I think that sign of good faith from him and from people across the world filled hope in everyone. That there is still good in the world and that people see that good and people are standing and rallying behind us. And I think that gave us strength during that time. And as time progressed, I think they tried to also arrest Mr. Lokesh because they felt if we put both in jail, the party will be completely in disarray. But we focused on our legal cases and ensured that we were able to bring him out. I mean, we could have wished that he would have come out sooner, but it took almost 2 months before he came out. But I think whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Will it have an impact on the election, do you think?
See, I think when you do anything that's very cruel or what people perceive to be injustice, I think there is a counter effect, which is to a large extent sympathy and to a large extent anger towards the ruling disposition. So I think both those counts definitely help. But in today's era, there's also this amnesia, right? People forget. Memories are short. So, and also there's information overload. Right. There's so much information coming in media today that people keep forgetting. So, there will be some who feel very strongly about it, some over time who start feeling less strongly about it. But I think it will play a role.
I mean, talking about you, you're an educationist. And education is something that also the YSRCP government has kind of focused on. What are your thoughts on that? What do you plan on doing? And why did you leave? Have you left education to join politics?
No, I have not. I continue to be the president of Geetam. I have been president of Geetam for the last 6 years now. I've been on the board for close to 12 years now. I love education. I love the work that I do there, and I don't think I'll ever leave it. Education is an opportunity, at least through Geetam, to impact a small set of population very deeply. Small vis-a-vis politics. So we have about 30,000 students. Under comparison with any other institution, it may seem large. But compared to politics, today I have 20 lakh voters. And if I win as an MP and I go to Delhi and even if I'm in any committee and any bill is discussed over there and I change one word, one phrase, one line, that may impact 100 plus crore people. So politics, the impact is far broader, maybe not as deep. In Geetam, in the university, you have the opportunity to shape young minds, to meaningfully transform who they are as individuals. And that gives me a lot of joy. In politics, I may not get that, but I may be a role model in politics. If I conduct myself a certain way, I speak a certain way, those who see me believe that it's possible to also be like Bharat and still survive in politics. You don't have to be like an average politician. So I would like to be that. And balancing these two is not easy. It takes a toll. But when you have good people around you, you're able to delegate responsibilities, I think you can do more.
And your plans for the educational development?
As far as the claims of the current government are concerned, I feel it's all extremely shallow because being an educationist myself, I think what's the most valuable part, and I was also telling this in a different interview where we were speaking in Telugu. The most valuable part of an education system is the teacher or the teaching, and the primary factor is what kind of teachers you're recruiting. This government has not conducted any DSC to recruit teachers in the last 5 years. With elections 6 months to go, they've announced it now. I'm sure that it's not going to happen. It's going to happen in our tenure. So if you're so committed to transforming the education system, why haven't you recruited new teachers? And also, you want to claim you have done something very good, recruit teachers much better than those who were recruited during TDP's time. In TDP, we recruited about 17,000 teachers, I think, in those 5 years, 14 to 19. So you recruit not 17,000, you recruit 10,000 teachers, but you recruit them through a better process, recruit better teachers, and show to us that you have done a better job. Then, as an educationist, I'll keep my political identity aside and I'll applaud that particular part of the government. They have not done that. They said we'll take up sprucing up of school infrastructure, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But I think by building one toilet or putting some paint, that doesn't transform the education system. It improves it. Their rhetoric versus their action is very far apart. I was recently in Escota constituency, which is in my parliament. It has 4.5 mandals. In one of the mandals, they have 55 schools. The government's school program is called Nadu Nedu, Manabadi Nadu Nedu, where they are sprucing up infrastructure. They have only completed 2 of 55 schools in Escota Mandal. In the entire constituency, they have done 220 schools out of 2,000. So what is transformation? I don't understand. And they have now shut down many early childhood primary schools, citing that it's not efficient to do so, to run them, and said there is a middle school that's 5 kilometers away. So send your toddlers to that middle school. Particularly women children are now dropping out of school because they don't want to send their girl child 5 kilometers away or 6 kilometers away or 10 kilometers away to a middle school that's far away. In Delhi, education is part of the political rhetoric. Delhi has done many things. It's a smaller unit, so I can't compare it with Andhra Pradesh. It's not an apples to apples comparison. But they've worked on teacher development. They've worked with schools from Finland and other education systems around the world that have been rated very well and gone much deeper into the core of what are we teaching, how are we teaching it. So has Andhra Pradesh now improved the state board curriculum by introducing better teaching curriculum, better textbooks, better practices, better grading mechanisms. Any private school association that I meet complains of so many things against the government. They said that we are being harassed similar to how we have been harassed as politicians. They are being harassed with CID cases. See, fear doesn't work everywhere. You can't bully your way for everything. And their big boast or claim is we've made everything English medium. And now they're saying that we are making everything IB, which is International Baccalaureate.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, relative to private schools, government schools have better teachers because they're recruited through a better process and they're paid better. But it does not mean that they're excellent at English. So if you've changed a Telugu medium school to English medium school overnight, it's very difficult for that teacher to pick up English because we have English faculty members in Gitam who've done PhDs in English. And out of the 60, 70 odd, I would say not more than 10 or 15 are excellent or very good. Others are maybe various ranges of good, average, and there'll be some who are below average. And these are people who have been formally trained in English for over 10, 15 years. You're saying you'll do a 3-month, 6-month, 1-year training program to government Telugu medium teachers and they'll become English medium teachers the next day. It's not going to happen. And the intention to bring English medium is a good intention. We have started it ourselves. We said we'll start it in urban municipal schools and scale it over time as we keep recruiting younger teachers who are fluent in English.
Right.
But see, the greed or desire that anything that we want, you wish it, you switch on the switch, it happens overnight. That's not reality. That's la la land. If you want to do anything in policy, it takes time. In 2001, 2002, when the IT investments were being attracted into the state by Mr. Chandrababus, Hyderabad was not what it is today. It's taking 20 years to get here. We need to be patient as politicians and to understand that just doing vote bank politics and this polarization politics is not going to work. It's going to damage generations of students. If students today are learning English from teachers who don't know English very well, they neither are learning Telugu nor they're learning English. They don't have any language ability. Their development is going to be impacted very seriously. But at the same time, our private schools are much better. No, I'm not saying that. Some private schools are very good. And yes, education is becoming very expensive. Government schools have to become stronger. So what government schools and government has to monitor is, whatever you're doing, do good. Even if you're doing it at a smaller scale. Instead of having 10,000 government schools.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, it's quality over quantity. And there's very, very little emphasis on that. So it worries me very seriously, because through all of this rhetoric, the ones who are suffering are the poor, the underprivileged, the backward classes, the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes. It's not the wealthy. The wealthy, they'll work harder and they'll put their child in a good private school.
Right.
I can keep going on and on about the education system. I think unfortunately today the candidate's husband is an education minister also, and I think they understand very less about what good education means.
I mean, she talks about the importance of especially higher education institutions like IIMs and Vizag.
That was brought during our tenure, so I don't know what she's trying to claim about that. So IIM was allocated land during 2014 to 19 during TDP regime, and the construction started during our time. So I don't understand what she's trying to say. Public, in fact, as a part of the state split, many institutions were given to Andhra. IIT came, AIMS Mangalgiri came, IIM came, Institute of Foreign Trade came in Kakinada. So now, actually what the candidate should be saying and what I am saying is, NIPER, the National Institute of Pharmacy Education and Research, which isn't there in Andhra, should be brought. Or ISER, Institute of Science Education and Research, should be brought. The candidate should be saying that. They're not saying that. They're trying to claim victory for things that TDP has done. Higher education in the Private University Act, even before Telangana, we had brought it, the TDP government. Through the Private University Act, we had brought private universities into Andhra Pradesh like SRM, VIT, Amrita, Centurion, Kriya, and those universities unfortunately have also been harassed by the current state government. I mean, it went so low that these universities were named, and if you go back and look into internet, hopefully if you're able to find it, SRM Amravati, VIT Amravati. Now you go look at their names. Their name is now SRM Andhra Pradesh, VIT Andhra Pradesh. Amravati as a name also has been removed. Why? This government wants to kill the name Amravati also. They don't want to be named Amravati also. So what this government has done is also allow brownfield institutions to become universities, which I think is good. I think you should allow brownfield institutions to become also. At the time that we introduced the Private University Act, our primary intention was to attract external universities to come into the state. If we allowed brownfield institutions on day one, our fear was, will new institutions come from outside? Now we have a healthy competition between new and existing. And I think the idea to allow brownfield institutions to become universities is a good one. I think we should encourage that. And that is happening now.
Well, to wrap up, I want my last question to be related to what you said in response to my first question. You said you learned how to tune out the noise and focus on the signal. Can you tell me what kind of noise you've learned to tune out?
No, many different kinds. See, right now, for example, the ruling party's newspaper, they constantly spews venom and lies. Maybe 6 years ago, I would have been worried what's actually going to write about this, that. Very quickly I realized that don't care about such crap, right? So whatever Sakshi writes, I feel year in, year out, or rain on a buffalo. It doesn't impact me. Also, the people who are giving feedback to you, what access to information do they have? If they know more than you do, then what feedback they're giving may be more relevant. In that particular context, if you know more than what they do, what they're saying is coming from a good place, but the feedback itself may not be as actionable. And you have to be conscious of, you have finite resources, you have finite time, finite people, finite money. So you can't do everything and anything that people want you to do. You need to be strategic. So you need to prioritize, and I do that. I prioritize on what I want to do, what I don't want to do. I can't win them all, and I can't beat everyone, and I can't be liked by everyone. You need to make your choices. So I make those choices. I'm a little bit more idealistic in the way I conduct myself. So I make choices on who I want to work with more closely. I can't choose to not work with people at all. In politics, you have to work with all different kinds of people. But I can choose to spend more time with people who I feel are more productive and who help me become a better politician. I do that. And I also listen to feedback that I feel more often than not is something that I want to put to action. So if I feel someone is telling me 10 things out of which 9 things are useless to me, I probably will stop listening to that person. I tune out the noise that way. In social media, in WhatsApp, I archive all people who spam me. So my WhatsApp is like my safe space, right? So if anyone spams me, send me things I don't want to see, I just archive them. I only want to be accessible to individuals and to groups where I want to see that information and there is some level of hygiene. And similar with my physical conversations also, I try to maintain that.
Got it. Well, thank you for joining us and for taking the time to do
Thank
this. And thank you. Keep watching The Print for more such interviews.
Thanks, Vandana.